I'm Lisa Blankenship.
I'm Marcus Geduld.
And we founded Folding Chair Classical Theater together. Marcus is the artistic director. I'm an actress.
And we're married.
And we're married, but right. I think I said that.
Yeah, we founded the company together in 2000. Have done probably since then 8 or 9 Shakespeare's and a variety of other plays loosely under the umbrella of classics.
Some Greeks. And
Duchess
weirdly
of Malfi,
some Mamet,
some Ibsen, Chekhov. I'm sure we cheated here and there. So,
yeah, we did a little cheating. Anyway, do you want to talk first?
Oh, yours is more interesting, so I'll
I don't
I'll
know.
talk
I
first.
haven't even told you about mine.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, I'm really interested now.
It's not that interesting, but
Right.
anyway, for me, I think a few things happened around the age of 12. One of them was that I was enrolled in an acting class for kids. So my first experience with acting was Shakespeare, and at the same time we were beginning to study Shakespeare in school. And I think I also saw my first play around that time, and I can't remember what it was to save my life. But I remember seeing it and thinking, I'm going to do that. And when I was 12 years old, whenever I said I was going to do something, I actually ended up doing it. That's about it.
And you played...
Oh, I played Ophelia when I was 13.
Oh, what a noble mind is here o'erthrown.
I played Ophelia when I was 13 at a local college.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
Oh, well, I liked Shakespeare before that, though. I was already excited about Shakespeare before I played Ophelia. Anyway.
My love for Shakespeare started much more passively. I saw when I was maybe 8 or 9, I saw the old Max Reinhardt Hollywood movie of Midsummer Night's Dream with James Cagney and Mickey Rooney, and I just loved it. All these Hollywood character actors were so fantastic, and I used to imitate Mickey Rooney, who looks like he's about 5 in that movie. He's probably like 16 or something. I used to imitate him playing Puck, and I would hide under my parents' bed at night, and I would pop up and say, "Thou speakest aright, I am that merry wanderer of the night."
I used to love that.
Anyway, my other formative Shakespeare story, when I was 18, my high school graduation present as a kid growing up in Indiana was a trip to England, and I went to Stratford, and I just went to see whatever happened to be showing there, not knowing anything about it, and it turned out to be a production of Richard III with Anthony Sher, which is a famous production where he played Richard, and he had these 2 arm crutches and would leap across the stage like a spider. So it was incredibly exciting production, both in terms of the language and physically, and that's really my first professional Shakespeare play that I saw.
You're really lucky you got to see
that was very, very lucky.
I don't think I necessarily would have become an actress if it weren't for Shakespeare. Shakespeare is what made me love acting, than the other way around, and just it was my entry point. So without Shakespeare, I don't think I would be an actress. I felt that the love of Shakespeare is like people who have it, it's almost like a beacon. It's sort of, we can find each other. I always really enjoy that, so I've made a lot of friends. Studying Shakespeare has definitely made me pay more attention to the language I use in everyday life. I think it's made me appreciate poetry more. I think it's made me appreciate writing in general more. And I think it's one of the reasons that I love to read as much as I do now.
I'm not a religious person, but I think when I work on Shakespeare, I feel like I'm getting in touch with this expansive mind. This mind that is so much bigger than mine, and that encapsulates the whole world, that seems to have something to say and something to reveal about every aspect of being human. It's not just an expansive mind, it's an incredibly generous mind.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's funny, it's also, I guess, godlike in the sense that we don't know anything about Shakespeare. We know hardly anything about who he was, and yet we sort of know everything. I mean, he lets us into so many aspects of himself, or at least how he saw the world. And I think just getting to connect with that, in not just in an academic way, but really in a nuts and bolts, collaborating with a mind that big, and a mind as generous enough to let me collaborate with him, it's magical for me. It's the closest I will get, I think, in my life to maybe what religious people feel.
And as a girl, those are some pretty fine female role models to grow up with, I mean...
Lady Macbeth.
No, but they're, Rosalind,
true.
Beatrice, so many of them are just such strong women. I think that Shakespeare was amazing in the way that he tapped into that.
You go.
Great actors are really in touch with their feeling side, but to be a great Shakespearean actor, I think you have to tap into the analytical part of your brain. You need to be willing to, dive deep in and diagram that syntax, whatever it takes. Look at those notes, study. I mean, it's easy. Like you see a line and it's, oh, well, I understand she's angry here. And you could leave it at that if it's a sort of obscure line. But I think what you really have to do is figure out what every single word means and why he or she is using those particular words, as opposed to, it's just very easy, I think, with Shakespeare to do a wash if you don't fully understand the language. And that takes some study and some diligence and accessing a part of your brain that you might not normally access with other playwrights.
I think you have to love words. You have to love words and love language, and particularly love using them as weapons and as tools to seduce somebody. You need to just be somebody who thinks that they can do anything with words, almost like a magician who has magic words. You have to, of course, in a Shakespeare play, you're going to use your body and you're going to use everything, but there needs to be part of your brain that thinks they could turn out all the lights and I could do everything I need to do with my voice and these words.
Your answer was a lot better than mine.
No. But I agree with you.
It really was
I agree with
better.
You about that.
Yeah.
I like this piece because it really sums up her frustration with Orlando. This sort of overblown romantic notion that he has of love. She really wants to get to the core of it. She wants to believe him, that there's so much hyperbole. She just has to be sure that this isn't some sort of passing fancy on his part.
No, Faith, die by attorney. The poor world is almost 6,000 years old,
And in all this time, there was not any man died in his own person, videlicet in a love cause. Troilus had his brains bashed out by a Grecian club, but he did what he could to die before, and he is one of the patterns of love. Leander would have lived many a fair year had Hero turned on, if it were not for a hot midsummer's night. For poor youth, he went but forth to wash himself in the Hellespont, and being taken with the cramp, was drowned. And the foolish chroniclers of the age found it was Hero of Sestos. But these are all lies. Men have died from time to time, and worms have eaten them, but not for love.
This is a speech that I always think about, and I think it's because I'm a nervous person. And it's a speech about when something bad is going on, is it better to know it or not to know about it? And this is something that all my life I've never resolved for myself, and probably never will. But this is what Leontes is wrestling with in this speech. How blessed am I in my just censure, in my true opinion? A lack for lesser knowledge, how accursed in being so blessed. There may be in the cup a spider steeped, and one may drink, depart, and yet partake no venom, for his knowledge is not infected. But if one present the abhorred ingredient to his eye, make known how he hath drunk, he cracks his gorge, his side with violent hefts. I have drunk and seen the spider.